Hello, friends. Welcome to the show that's never the same. Never the same. Now, we're back to a classic setup because of a classic blunder. But we are here, and we are almost on time. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Stupendous and impatient. I want 10th edition. I just want it.
Yeah, you got another month and a half, pretty much 2 months before that.
Basically, two
why
full
would you
months.
say that to me? Why would you put that kind of negativity on me?
Does it sound short if I say 8 weeks?
No.
I think it does. I think it feels short.
How's our audio? I can't hear anything. Is our mic? Are we live, like audio wise?
Because
you said you were too loud, and then I turned you down.
I can hear you, but I can't hear these guys.
That's weird.
8 weeks will deteriorate faster than. Yeah, I mean, no, okay, so it won't. But the number will go down more quickly at 8 weeks.
This is true. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes, in a week it'll be 7 weeks.
Exactly.
Whereas in a week it's still 2 months.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah. So
Start grilling them in the parking lot. Good Lord. Okay.
Did you guys know that it's not illegal to buy 6 gerbils from PetSmart and start grilling them in the parking lot?
It might be. It might be.
There's got to be some kind of animal cruelty.
If it was, that's a world I don't want to live in.
If it is illegal?
If it was illegal.
Fun story, Tex. When I was a kid, my sister had a gerbil and it died, and she wanted it cremated. So me and my dad took it in the backyard and grilled it.
You cremated it. You didn't grill it. There's a slight difference.
The way we did it, not really.
That's
heated up a stone slab in a
I hate that.
burn pit and just
Okay,
there you go.
Look, there's this. Here's the differentiating factor. Was there barbecue sauce?
No, there was not.
Who's
Okay, then
Jared?
you cremated it.
Nathan
Yummy.
Scream Jared. Based Brad.
Hello from another table. Indeed.
No, it is not another. This is a classic table.
It is another table, though. He didn't say a new table.
Yeah. This was something that was posted on Twitter about the gerbil.
So good.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. That's actually Tex on Twitter also.
Oh.
What the hell is Nathan talking
Gotta
about?
go flip him over later,
I don't
Tex.
know. Jared
Love you, buddy.
with a stretched A.
Jared?
I don't know what he's saying.
Jared.
Repeating it doesn't make it. I still don't know what it means. Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about, I think.
You went to Jared.
I'm not used to this angle, so I'm having a hard time seeing the camera.
Just don't look at it. Just pretend it's not there. Pretend it's just a fan sitting in the room gently.
Why can I
watching
not
it.
hear you in my headphones?
I don't know.
And now
I can
pretend
hear
you're
you.
home alone in your bedroom.
Can you hear Brad?
No,
Can you hear yourself?
I can. No, only Tony.
I can
Only
hear you.
Tony.
That's weird.
I can hear myself.
Only
Literally,
Tony's.
Yeah, everything's fine.
No point in wearing them because I can't hear you guys.
Fair enough.
It's probably just not turned up enough.
We tonight we are.
I hear you. I don't hear. Anyway,
Tonight we are showing the fans the 3 stages of wearing headphones. Not wearing them, having them half on, and then wearing them.
It's like,
What happened at Trapezoid?
hear no evil, see no evil.
So what happened to the
Speak no
trapezoid?
evil.
It's gone. It has been killed.
Why? What did you do to it?
Don't lie. No,
You
it
saw
fully
Tony took it apart.
it fully evolved into a full Zoid, not just a.
Full Zoid?
Oh,
not-
so
not
like
just a
okay, so
trapezoid.
someone gave it like a Zoid stone.
I wasn't unsupervised in doing
Basically,
this.
yeah.
You weren't unsupervised.
Right.
You were. You had a mind of your own, though.
Yeah.
I was like, Tony, what are you doing? You're like, I'm taking it apart.
Well, you said we were, so.
Did we freeze?
No.
We froze on Twitch.
Twatch.
Must be on your end.
There we go. It caught up. Everything got caught up. Okay, so the world is a changing. What have we got? What's up, Nurgle Matt? Yay, these guys. I don't know if yay is the right term. These guys. So I don't know if they officially, today, picked the dates for Michigan GT, but it's the 6th through the 8th of October.
Yep.
So for the love of God, put Ford off now.
That seems earlier
No, it's later.
It's later?
Yeah, it's usually like that might be the first weekend in October, but usually it's the last like Friday, Saturday or whatever of September.
We're gonna have that first Codex in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So if not before then, we could get it. We can get the first Codex.
We won't get it before August.
You don't think we'll get it in September?
I seem to remember 8th and 9th edition. We got a Space Marine book in August.
I thought we got the 9th edition, or no, we got the 9th edition Necron book like at launch, didn't we? That was the first one to come out.
No, because
it was
Space Marines and Necrons, I think
they came out in July and then the end of August.
I think they dropped simultaneously.
They
didn't
did.
Yeah, like the same weekend.
Their book came out in August.
I believe so, because it was June and then
remember it was all a month behind anyway.
It was also not a edition reset either, where we needed
the indexes
rules
we
for
got
them
at the
right
beginning.
away. Yeah.
Nathan, the trapezoid had bad DNA.
Mm-hmm.
It had a bad creator, so it was always destined to be destroyed. And Tony and I have been talking about this new table for a while.
Not this new table.
No, this is a very old table.
But a concept of a new table.
This is a sturdy, perfect, wonderful table. It just doesn't fit the podcast.
Yeah.
That table is 3 years old.
Actually, isn't bad for the podcast.
It's not bad.
It's bad for the podcast to be a permanent setup.
It's great to play Blood Bowl on, though.
It is.
It's really good for 40K too.
Yeah, that too.
It's a little low for 40K.
I think that's a good thing because then you can appropriately reach the center of the board. So I think it's actually perfect, like all around. I love this table.
Nathan, I don't know if I ever said that, and if I did, it's apparently not true. Now, the new table looks really good.
Oh, yeah.
Tony, is that one wider?
They should... No, it just seems wider because it's shorter.
If I had $1.
They should both be 25 inches.
I think you're right, but man, it looks...
It does look wider, yeah.
So that's going to be an L. I don't know if it's going to be done by next week or not. We were hoping to get it done tonight.
Yeah, that would have been a big.
Who's Crimson
task.
Carnage?
That is Michael, I believe.
Michael who?
If I'm not mistaken. Cal?
Oh. It is my fault. That's right, Michael. Your wife was very helpful today. She tried to get me to spend $1,000, and I told her no, though.
I ran into her the other day, too.
Was your car?
No, not, at least not on purpose.
I don't think we abandoned YouTube, but listen, Nathan, we were right up to the gun tonight. We were trying to get something done, and
we should be on YouTube, are we not?
Listen, Nathan's the only one that notices if we're not.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine because we can't read the comments there anyway.
We can't.
He leaves a ghost comment there every week.
We've been live for almost 9 minutes. However, it just is showing the logo. Oh no, no, we're live there.
Okay.
I can't speak to
Twitch. What's up, bro?
Twitch. All right, so we need to talk about some of the 10th stuff.
People are curious about the table, man. This is the table podcast.
Yeah. This will be like our 7th table.
That's not even an exaggeration either.
I think that on camera, I like the look of the color of this table the most.
Sure.
It's really good.
Yeah, I really like it a lot.
Yeah. My goal is to have the other one come at it from a lower angle, so the front of it will be a little bit more visible, which I want to have lights on. We'll see. We've not had a light table like that, but we can dye it lighter if we need to, or dye it darker rather.
No, I don't mind
it's unfinished.
The light look of it, but
mm-hmm.
I was hoping it'd be put together. Okay,
Yeah.
So what did we get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? We got nothing Friday.
We got nothing Wednesday, but they gave us.
Did we get 2 articles last week? That's it.
We got stuff before Tuesday.
We got terrain and
transports,
and
after
then we
Tuesday.
received the Tyranid Prime yesterday.
Yep.
But no data slate.
No
data
data
slate
slate,
for
but that'll come.
at the
That'll
end
come
of the week.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday they have 3 hours. Tell Alex I said hello
They
again.
have 3 hours slated for 40K.
It's at 9 and then noon their time. So I don't know if that means that it's going to go the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it's 9 to noon or
9 a.m. to noon.
Okay.
Their second reveal is at noon.
They're doing 2 reveals.
I think. Oh, why guess when we can go?
Yeah,
we have the internet machine.
Let's venture. Hello, Alex.
Tony, is there any way that we could connect this computer to that computer where, like, I could look something up and, like, share it real quick?
The internet.
I know. I
Like share your screen?
share the screen. Yeah. Well,
There's a couple ways. Some of them are
keep in mind, it needs to be free.
I saw a
okay.
post.
That cuts out the easier one.
I saw a meme
and
that was shared the other day.
yes, you can do it, but it is unreliable and complicated.
Okay, so it's easier to do it the way we've been doing it. That's all I get to say.
I saw a meme that was shared the other day, and it was when you're sitting on the toilet, you're sitting on a citywide network of buttholes connected to other buttholes.
I'm not exactly sure, like,
It's
How
not
that-
really a two-way connection.
No, it's like a network though, right? Like,
Yeah.
kind of like the internet. Like it's basically what the internet is. It's just
the
a
internet
series.
is definitely a series of tubes.
Well, it's a series of like connected buttholes.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I don't know if they're really connected. I mean, they all go to the same place, but they don't. Nothing really all goes back.
Anyway, so we got terrain, and so they're doing. Where the hell is the chat?
Because there's that gap at the end. I mean, I guess there's Poseidon's Kiss.
Tony, you are almost going to be banned from the mic if you don't stop encouraging Brad.
You know what a San Diego thank you is?
Okay, you got to cut him off. Okay, Tony, go to that link that I just shared in the group. Let's see. Okay, so while Tony's pulling that up, basically, it's 40K at 9 a.m. It's down. You'll see there we
Right there.
go. And share that, put that on their screen. too.
Okay, so yep,
there you
9 a.m. and then they've got Underworld, Warcry, and Middle Earth.
So
Okay.
nothing, and nothing.
Yeah.
Noon.
Okay. So
Warhammer Underworld is a good game, but like that, and Warcry, I don't know, man.
I would like to try Warcry. If I was to collect anything Age of Sigmar, it'd be for Warcry.
They do have really cool
They do.
war bands.
It's all chaos. Still 3 years
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
it's all
that's-
chaos.
Well,
That's
because
okay,
that's
though.
that's like
That's the
What-
aesthetic, right?
yeah, that's what they
yeah, but why,
designed
but
the game to be.
It's only, but why?
Well, the same reason why like Necromunda's all like gangs and stuff.
Right, but
It's
it's
the
not
same
all
reason that
chaos
Blood
games.
Bowl's all
No,
football
but-
players.
Yeah, but from there's all varieties.
Yeah,
I imagine there's a large variety of stuff in Warcry too.
Yeah,
It
if
just-
you like chaos, I mean, it's literally all chaos.
Okay.
And they don't even do a good job of like porting the other models over. I just think
Oh, they might not.
I think it just limits the. I would not want to play it.
Also, I gotta point out the old world popping up on there. Like,
Yeah, they just did that. They didn't even announce anything for Old World or anything. They were just like, yeah, we'll just throw it on that schedule there, and that's how we'll announce that we're talking about.
I've heard rumors
funny.
that it's dropping next year.
I could see that.
In place of Sigmar, are they going to do it?
They'll do
Oh,
both.
hey.
They'll do both.
Well,
That's
hey,
a
we
weird-
got
they're
we,
already
we
competing
got
with each
Heresy.
other.
We got Heresy.
So-
Yeah,
this year.
you've got
Or, I'm sorry,
Heresy.
Heresy was last year.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We got Heresy last year.
Yeah, but Heresy's
There was
Heresy's
nothing else last year. Though.
basically Old World 40K.
Yeah, that's how they
So-
pitched Old World.
So
It's just
How many factions is Old World gonna drop with?
I don't
they'll
know.
probably have rules for all the old existing armies at the
Yeah.
start.
for the dummies.
think
that
so?
didn't burn them or whatever.
Yeah, they had all those armies. I mean, a lot of the armies still exist in Sigmar, but they're going to be on Square. It's a weird. The whole Old World thing is just. It's a weird decision for me.
Yeah.
They're going back to square bases.
Nurgle Matt,
they
you going
are.
to play some fantasy?
What?
Nurgle Matt said, "Fantasy, let's go."
Yeah, the square bases are weird because now when you have that model, you literally cannot use that model for any other system.
Well, there's going to be very quickly available movement trays with holes for circle bases, so you can use your Sigma army in Old World.
yeah.
I
It's
can
going to
see
be
that.
probably week one, maybe not day one,
Well,
but it'll be very, very.
are you
shortly.
saying GW is going to do it? 'Cause,
No,
like,
but I mean, you don't need GW to do it.
that's
You
what I
just
was
need-
just about to say. You could totally. I
Now,
could
to
totally
be
see a
fair, the
third
old
party would
GW
just do it.
movement trays were literally like. Do you remember the old Mario Paint mouse pad that we always used as a landing pad?
Is that?
I have one of those.
Yeah, it was always a landing pad when we would play.
Build Legos.
Yeah,
That's funny.
or play micro minis or whatever. Our first miniatures game. Anyway, So basically, it's like that, right? It's a much thinner piece of plastic, and you would just cut it. It was like pre-existing grids, and you would just cut it down with the clippers and glue your edges to make your movement trays. So like you could do that and just kind of fit the. But there's already circle movement trays people make out of MDF, so it wouldn't be hard to do it. Skaven on, you kept them on the squares, or did you get them? Did you get them like recently? Square bases come to magnetized feet. No, listen. If you're playing in the, I think you can just use them on the round bases and then put them in the movement trays.
Yeah,
because it's a rank and file game. I'm excited to try it because I never got to play Old Fantasy.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, they blew it up right as we got to
Literally,
the
second month or third month we were open.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I sold one of those boxes for like 2 years. I sold one of the launch box.
For Sigmar.
Yeah, I got 4 of them and held on to 3 for a long time.
Yeah, I remember when Sigmar came out. That's all they talked about for like 6 months.
The summer of Sigmar, man.
Yeah.
Nothing 40K, anything, just all Sigmar. It was
The summer of
so
Sigmar.
annoying.
Well, it'll be the exact same way for Old World.
I think they'll do
I don't think so.
I think they'll do
They're not gonna do a
the.
6-month time
heresy
period with
treatment.
40K.
I think they'll have stuff here and there, but it'll be like an add-on.
Yeah.
Although heresy, it's a little different because it's coming from plastic or from resin into plastic.
Well, they're literally starting from scratch with Old World because they have to. They're rebuilding Tomb Kings from the ground up. They're building Bretonia from the ground up. We've seen bits for Tomb King models.
Okay.
So like they're going to exist.
Okay.
We've seen bits for Bretonians. We've seen bits for we haven't seen bits for damn it. What are the snow guys?
Beastclaw?
Kislev.
Are they gonna release those in fantasy?
Well, they're in war. They're in
I remember
Total
them talking
War
about
3.
how they use the models
they
in the
are.
video game.
Yeah,
that GW was using for the.
and Kislev were the ones
They're
in
a
the
new
trailer
faction.
fighting Korn.
They're the newest one.
Yeah.
They came out in 3.
Exactly.
Actually, have.
So they'll be in the game for sure.
I need to play that some more.
Dude, their cavalry was pretty sweet. And then the bear riders and stuff.
Dude, the corn stuff in that game is so awesome.
Super
Doom
cool.
Bell is rolling.
Super cool. We are definitely not delaying 10th edition. They've got to pay their bills somehow, John. 10th edition is how they're doing it. The Doom Bell is rolling. So Skaven is huge. Man, the old world is just a
Skaven's
weird.
already Honestly,
why compete with yourself?
I don't know. I think, in my opinion, they made a huge mistake with Sigmar. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I don't think they should ever went down the Sigmar route.
I agree.
I don't.
They should have
I don't
kept.
know.
They could have simplified Warhammer.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
it could have stayed
Right,
Warhammer.
but they could have kept rank and file because that was one of the big changes that people hated. Was the
they could have
rank and
added
file.
a skirmish mode too.
Yeah,
Is it
Well,
they took the
Warhammer
rank and
fantasy
file
players,
away?
yeah,
fantasy players, to be fair, played for the rank and file,
yeah, exactly.
right? So like to get rid of that entirely.
Yeah,
I gotta
exactly.
say, I really like the look of Sigmar on the tabletop, though, as opposed to rank and file. Square bases are not good.
They could. I agree.
They are not appealing.
and they're hard to play with.
Yeah.
I remember I had old fantasy models I started playing Sigmar with,
Mm-hmm.
and like they fall over because they're not meant to be individual. They're meant to be in a rank.
in a rank. Yeah.
The models are not designed to be in a rank right now either. Everything's so dynamic.
Well,
Which
you've got
looks
like
better.
weird poses and
Yeah.
stuff, and like you're gonna have models that just don't fit into blocks. Because
Rank
of
and
just how
file, Nathan,
they
like
are.
literally is like when you see those blocks. So in movement trays, so you got maybe 4 or 5 across, and then 5 deep. They're just blocks of men. So
Yeah, so each guy
that's
has
what
to,
rank and file means.
each guy has to fit into his, let's call it 25 millimeter base, like without encroaching onto the next guy's base. Because
Well, that's why you'd see like all the even bloodletters today that we still have are still pretty much like almost mono pose,
Yeah.
right? Like you got 10 guys that are pretty much doing
well,
the
it's
same
the same.
thing.
It's the
It's the
same
same kit.
It's the same kit.
Yeah, they haven't changed.
They haven't updated them.
They haven't touched a lot of demon stuff. In
But
a
like the
very
ogre
long
kit,
time.
You
They
know, the
probably have
ogres
the
are all
changes.
like they're squared together. Their shoulders are very square.
I have no idea how it worked, Nathan. Really, literally no idea.
Um,
I'm assuming no,
you know, I don't
because
know.
you had the movement tray underneath them.
But see, with the movement tray mattered too. Like you had to like tilt like the front of your tray,
Mhm.
you wanted to get as much contact with the other trays.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because you wanted to stay in formation. I really don't know. I never played it. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Because the tray made the formation of the troops.
Oh,
It's also simulating like medieval combat, right? And ancient combat.
Yeah,
That's
where
what
you
it
had-
is.
Yeah. No, I don't. No, I'm not. I'm not personally. I'm not all that interested in rank and file. I'm glad they're bringing it back for the people who want it, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, I thought Age of Sigmar was a.
I've always
pretty
thought
big
it should
miss.
be a game mode. I thought that they could have put that in the general's handbook pretty easily.
Rank and file. Yeah, maybe. I kind of thought that like if you wanted to play skirmish, you just play 40k, and then if you want to play rank and file, play
I think
Warhammer.
it's easier to add a skirmish variant to a rank and file game than the other way around.
What do you mean?
I think old Warhammer, you could have just said, okay, if you're playing 1,500 points or less, you don't have to use the trays, or you take out those kind
Yeah.
of.
I mean, I just don't know if that. I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird.
Pro 40k all day, every day.
They tried because they tried similar things with Kill Team, and it just never worked. Now Kill Team's its own game.
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna definitely play some games. I don't. And
Yeah.
if the Bretonians look cool, I think Joel might. Joel wanted Bretonians when we started playing Sigmar. He's like, "Give me some Bretonians," and I went to order them. I was like, "Joel, they got Thanos, bro. This was pre-Thanos too.
Mm.
They got dusted.
That was
Yeah.
that was a glorious snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to.
Um,
So are you getting some old world stuff then?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Because
I
I'll
don't
watch.
know.
I'm gonna watch.
I've got
I'll probably
to
watch some-
see it first.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Like,
watch some games.
yeah.
But
It wouldn't be a
No,
bad idea for me to get one of the starter armies. What I really would want would be something that could be in Sigmar and Old World. You know, although Kislev,
That's
man,
why the problem of the
What do you
of
think
the
it's gonna
square
be?
bases.
is it gonna be Kislev in the box?
but
But see, that's if
It's got to be two entirely new.
are they
armies.
really okay? So like the new tanks that are coming out for the new old tanks, right? That are coming out in plastic for the first time.
Mhm.
They're all usable in 40k. Are they really going to put out a fantasy army that can't be used in Sigmar?
Well, if
Would that make sense for them to do that?
if they're provided with square bases in the box, then they will not be usable in Sigmar.
Well, I agree, but like back in the day, like demons used to come with squares and rounds.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know because like 40k.
Why would you cut out? You know, if you could sell another 25% of this army, why would you just? We don't want to sell that.
Well, they do come out with things for Horse Heresy that isn't for 40k, right? You have different units and stuff.
Different units,
yeah.
but not wholesale armies, right? Like, and you can always use some of that stuff, the Horse Heresy stuff. For,
The only thing
they exist in 40k.
The only
too.
the only thing that I'm aware that transfers is like the basic infantry, and then like the tanks, and that's it.
Right,
And
but
not even all the tanks. I don't think
no, but you can use
What
all of
tanks
the
are we
Blood
talking
Angel.
about?
stuff from Horse Heresy.
Oh, okay.
You can get all like the Blood Angel resin shoulder pads and put them on 40k Marines too. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
they
I know.
don't put themselves out of a market. Exactly.
No, I get what you're
I understand
saying.
there are specific units, but man, it just seems like Kislev, they would want that army playable in Sigmar too.
Do they exist in Sigmar?
I mean,
I don't think so. No.
it's kind of like Star Wars. Nobody's ever really gone, right? Like they could just
Yes.
in Sigmar's all about like realms. So oh look, they opened a tear in space because the old world takes place before like
Sigmar, yeah.
well
Before this.
well yeah
before
Sigmar
the-
is
the-
after the old world was destroyed.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. When as soon as they announced Old World, I was like, man, that just seems like you're going to be competing against yourself directly,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
Who knows?
No.
Okay, Nathan wants to talk about the transport article. So Primaris can fit in rhinos. Yes, they can, and it's about damn time.
It's not only rhinos either. They leaked a picture of a bunch of intercessors coming out of a drop pod, which I am super excited for.
Think dedicated transport.
Very stupid that it didn't.
Yeah, I know.
That it wasn't able to be that way from the get.
What do you mean one per infantry kind of way? You mean like to bring a rhino into the field?
Yeah, that's. I don't know. He's got all the hyphens and the.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Nathan GPT.
yeah, there's no delineation between Primaris vehicles and firstborn vehicles anymore.
No more.
So basically they will limit it based upon armor keywords. So like
Units.
Gravis models will not be able to fit into a Rhino.
Right.
Sure, cool, no problem.
Right.
Gravis models
Same thing with Terminators.
Exactly. Terminators already can't go into
That's
a
a
Rhino.
pre-existing thing from the old days that was not problematic.
Do you think I'll be able to put Gravis Marines into a drop pod?
I would hope not, because they're like Terminator.
You could put Centurions in back in the day, though.
7th edition.
You could
For at least for a little while. I don't know if you could the entire time.
That was like
which that's probably not okay. You probably shouldn't be able to do that.
It was a small window in 7th edition from when Marines got their 2.0 book. No, it was just their 7th edition book. Yeah, it was just when Marines got their 7th edition book to the end of the edition, and then that was the only point that I'm aware of.
It created some unintended consequences when you could put Centurions in there.
Very gnarly.
Are they going to make Grav good again?
I don't know. Speaking of
they
Grav,
have to make it a choice, right? Like
It's
not
it's
even
not
a choice
right now.
No.
It hasn't been for two editions.
It's the same thing with drop pods too. Like
Yeah.
drop pods haven't been usable since 7th edition. So they need to do something.
And I understand being able to put a dreadnought in one.
I think that was one of the coolest things. It was a bummer when they took it away.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna a Redemptor is literally bigger than a drop pod.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care. If I could put a Redemptor into a drop pod, I'd be so happy. It's like turn one.
Imagine that for a second.
Here's
though.
Big Daddy Robot.
Imagine that for a second, though. Like you take, I don't know, like like a boot, and you shove it into a tin can, and so it's like rupturing out the sides, and then you launch it through space.
What I
and
imagine
it's falling through. The doors are like they're not. It's not even that they're closed. It's that they're like bowing.
What I imagine is just like a Redemptor, just like folded up inside the drop pod, and then like the drop pod gets there, and he just like awakens and just like comes out and just destroys the whole thing.
Well, his
as he's
like
getting out
arms
of it.
and legs are hanging
amazing.
out of the doors of the drop pod, and they're like flailing as he's falling through space.
He's just kind of wearing it like
Yes.
like
the
a
Tabletop Titan guys. They were doing like I guess they do a podcast where they talk for like
The good talk,
7 to 12 minutes, and then they do list reviews for about 2 hours.
dude. I hate it.
It's horrible.
Well, because it makes they at one point they tried to like tell people like, hey, stop sending us list reviews. Like we just can't do this, and then people just never stopped. And it's like, okay, well these people are literally paying $15 to have me look at their list and comment on it. So it's like, okay, I'll just take.
It's a shame. I was like, I can't watch this.
No, dude, it's really bad. It's really bad. Like if they saved all the lists for literally the very very end of the show, I'd be more for it.
Yeah, but dude, it's hard like when you're cashing those checks too. You know what I mean?
People are paying.
They
you
get to
do
keep
it.
70% of the money.
Exactly.
You know, so I think it's 70-30.
70-30 seems like a lot. Twitch takes 50.
Twitch is 50.
Twitch is 50
Oh,
for bits and for subs and everything. Twitch is
dedicated transport is a keyword for army building. John says
it is.
So 6 for troops. 6 is the limit for troops, and 3 for everything else. So you can only take up to dedicated transports also.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So
there's no more 9
well,
Skyweavers.
hold on now, because it's 6 per data slate. So I can have 6 rhinos, and then I can have 6 razor.
Yes. But you can only have 6 drop pods.
Yeah. Okay.
But those guys, I was segueing, I was saying those
Put
guys
that
were
lip
talking
away.
about the problem.
I own exactly 6 drop pods. Perfect.
I think 6 is a pretty good number. They were talking about like the problems with drop pods, because like it's cool and thematic, but like how do you balance it? You know what I mean? They come in turn 1 and like they're meant to totally wreck everything.
So you give them OC0, so they cannot claim objectives.
There you go.
Right there.
They should be treated as terrain after they come out of the board. Flat out.
But they have
fortifications.
guns. But
Fortifications. Because you can't tie up.
Sure.
You
Sure.
can't lock yourself in combat with a
That's
fort.
probably, and then you could literally just have the Hammerfall fortress thing do the same thing.
Yeah.
which that thing, like,
I hate that thing. It's so dumb.
it could have been very cool.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a Primaris Marine drop pod. And they're like, no, it's not drop pod. It's literally just guns and stuff. That
It's
comes
a-
Is
from
it?
space.
Does it drop from the sky?
No, it's just
It's deployed on the
you
field?
Deploy it. It's like a big bunker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a drop pod.
No,
I
it's
thought it
just
was
a big
a-
bunker.
Just to add more drop pods, Nurgle Matt says.
It's even worse. Okay.
Like the theme is that they dropped it in and like it hunkers down and this is your hard point.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
That's what
but-
we're talking about, Nathan. I think they're gonna have to address that because you can just shoot it and things that can fall back when it charges the drop. It's not what they intended from the game.
Yeah,
exactly.
But like you can easily do it.
Yeah, you need to.
Oh no, I don't want to hit my hunk of metal. It's I don't know. It's a tough balancing act, right? Because like Brad has this wet dream still of 100% null deploy coming down and drop pods, and like it's narrative and cool, and I agree. But like, how do you
Yeah.
make that a fun, balanced game? It's tough to do both, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a thing.
Literally, you could do it in 7th. Like, okay, hey, you go first. All right, there's
that
your
was
turn.
my strategy
You'd be
for
an
Necrons.
awesome rule for drop pods.
What?
Let them use rapid ingress for free.
They very well could do that. They
Yeah,
could
it
get
could.
Terminators get it for free. don't they?
They could get it, but I would like for them just to have their own.
You
rule
can't totally
where they get
null
to come
deploy
in
now, Nathan.
turn 1.
8th and 9th.
No, I
you
mean
can't.
like some of them can come in on your turn 1, and then more of them can come in on your opponent's turn 1.
Oh, that would be neat.
Do you remember how like I
That'd be
think
neat.
it was in 7th edition like only half could come in at one
Half
time?
half rounding up. yeah.
Exactly. The same
come in
kind of
turn 1?
rule
Yeah.
could come back.
So if you brought what would you typically bring? Would you bring 3?
You'd bring an odd number of drop pods. I think 3 was the optimal choice. It was 3 or 1.
The,
You didn't bring 2.
there were a lot of times where like you just bring a drop pod and put nothing in it so that it could come in later.
That's what it was. We were talking the other day. What was the point of bringing one as fast attack?
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, there were things that could. Well, there was also things that, like Centurions, for instance,
Right,
that
you
could
could
go
put them in
inside
the
of it,
fast attack
but they
version.
couldn't take it as a dedicated transport.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that too.
Jason did that to me once. He
Mm-hmm.
brought a unit of White Scar Centurions. Jason stuffed them in a drop pod. The Centurions had grav cannons. He gave him a librarian with him.
Mm-hmm.
Gave the librarian ignores a relic that allowed him to ignore his cover, and then he could prescience the Centurion. So now they're ignoring cover, re-rolling hit rolls, re-rolling wound rolls because grav.
There was some
Nathan, they don't let you
nightmare.
there
null
was some
deploy, though.
geomancy thing where you could just ignore line. You didn't need line of sight.
Was that the same
Yeah.
one where you could move terrain? That was
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geomancy was.
I do want to talk
Frickin'
about the psychic.
cool.
It was very cool. But again, that's the thing. Like, it's a very
it was busted, but
the
it was
very
cool as hell.
thematic, fun, cool thing for one side.
Well,
The,
that was also the days
yeah.
where you couldn't pick psychic powers. You had to roll for
Oh,
it.
I don't miss that.
Dude, no, because
I don't miss that
you,
at all.
You were really fishing for like, it's like my list
No,
doesn't work if I don't get this.
Nathan, the term null deploy refers to the entire army not being on the field.
Yeah.
So
if your
yes,
opponent
drop
gets
pods
turn 1,
do
they can't do anything.
start off the field, but like in the days of 7th, you literally could keep your whole army off the board, and you could have your opponent go first and do nothing for turn 1. Granted, the game went 7 turns sometimes, which I do miss that too. Is the game end? You remember that roll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of miss that stuff, but not your whole army. Not your whole army, Nathan. Now maybe in the rule, but match play you were not allowed to do that. Maybe that's where we're getting caught up here.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Match play you can't start with nothing on the field.
Not anymore.
Narrative play you can.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't think you.
The way you said that, now you got me doubting myself, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Anyway,
Right?
yeah.
You can't. You have to have something on it.
Now-
you have to have
now
half
you
your
do.
power level on the field.
Now
right?
you do, yeah. Which also they mentioned
Right.
power level's gone. in
Yeah.
10th, which is
Thank God.
fantastic.
It was
Fantastic.
2 editions of
Dude.
a lot of nothing.
Both dudes in Europe are upset about that, though.
Yeah, the 2 guys that played with it.
Yeah,
I
they're
agree.
upset about it.
Yeah, but it's okay. They'll get over it when they realize. When
So
they remember
okay,
that points are better.
I want to touch on this because we're going to move on and forget. Psychic phase, psychic powers. Okay, there's no psychic phase. Do you think that there's going to be psychic tables that you can add additional powers from,
I think so.
but not till the codexes?
Yeah.
I think that as well.
Yeah.
That's an interesting. I didn't even give that any thought.
Yeah. how
I don't think there's enough room on the data slates for armies like Thousand Sons and Grey Knights and Eldar. I think they're going to need other stuff, and I think every army will get something. So, like, this weird boy has its data slate, and then also...
Yeah, well, because
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the orcs won't just have 2 psychic powers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because weird boys are the only psychers.
Psychers.
Yeah. But then you have, like, all the different Space Marine librarians. They can all have a different power, like, built into their data slate, so that there's a specific reason to bring a Phobos librarian versus a Terminator librarian versus a Power Armor librarian.
Yeah.
And...
but then there's generic
and then
spells
there's generic,
that you can choose
yeah,
from.
exactly. And
that's very simple to do too. Like that's something we're all used to doing.
yeah.
I like that idea.
But you can't do it. That's not okay. If we don't know if the data slates they've shown us are legitimate. Like Brad and I have been talking. Where are the restrictions on what can go in the transport?
Yeah, Brad and I were talking about that too.
So where is that information at?
What units can the
Tony, look
Terminator
up that
librarian
be attached to,
And
be attached to? Like
Nefarious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of rules on that used to be on data slates.
Well, I feel like the transport capacity. Why would it not be on the data slate? Where is it going to tell you what units the heroes can add to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're talking about all one page, but like you're just adding more areas. You know.
Well, never underestimate GW's ability to make things more complicated.
Hey man,
than
I
they
want to
need
give
be.
them credit again because like
I do too. They've been
stratagems
doing
were a
good
problem,
job.
and they're like, you know what, we're going to cut them down. Now the 6 we get, they might be busted. I don't know. They might all be really over the top.
Oh,
But
we've
like
seen
if they stick to 6, I think we're in a
we
good
saw
direction.
it was Armor of Contempt.
Armor of Contempt is a stratagem now.
Which how did that one work?
Reduce AP by 1, incoming AP by 1.
To 1 unit, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. So only stratagems work the exact same. I think it's reactionary. But
Which I saw an interesting point that like they were moving big reason to reduce gotcha moments with getting rid of stratagems like they did.
If you want to
But
gotcha, you can
then-
just play Magic.
Right, but the counterpoint to that is they want 40K to now be a lot more reactive, and honestly, it could be way more gotcha than ever before.
that's true too.
We don't know how it's going to
think-
play out.
Well, I mean, if you say you don't remember that my Termagants can move if you come within 9 inches of them.
The reactionary stuff doesn't bother me. It's when there's 3 pages of it. That's my.
I mean,
issue.
I could have a gotcha thing on every data slate in there.
well, we've only seen one reactionary. But to be fair, we've only seen a quarter of a percent of the game.
Yeah.
We haven't seen very many data slates, but we've only seen one
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, we're gonna move when you get within 9. I like that kind of stuff. I like rapid ingress.
Rapid ingress is
I
interesting.
think it's gonna be annoying, but like
People are talking about like deep striking into the center of your opponent's army, like during their turn.
well, you're probably still gonna have to be 9 inches away.
Probably.
So you're still
Yeah.
probably gonna. There's still gonna be limitations.
Yeah, but if your opponent leaves that gap, so here I am.
Yeah, I mean that's a current thing though that you.
Do you
can
do it
already
at the end of
do.
your opponent's movement
You
phase?
just gotta plan for that, like we've been doing since 8th edition.
I think theme is very. I want it to feel like a futuristic war game,
Yeah.
right? So like that was one thing when 8th started. You were playing on the entire. You were playing on the entire board, so you had turn 1 deep strikers, and the entire board was played on.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
You remember how crazy? Like it was chaotic and crazy.
Nathan, rapid ingress is a new generic stratagem that every army in the game can take. Where you during your opponent, or I think it's at the end of your opponent's movement phase, you can bring in one of your units from reserves via either deep strike, outflank, or whatever have you.
Yeah. So you can use it to sack an objective, or yeah. Typically, I think that's.
And I'm sorry, what did you say? What about the whole board?
Just at like the beginning of 8th edition, the entire like you could deep strike and put the stuff was happening in every corner of the board. You were playing on a 6x4, and the whole thing was potentially a battle zone.
Yeah.
And I mean that really got reduced when they took away the turn 1 deep strikes, and I missed it.
I'm glad that turn 1 deep strike is gone. Or well, hell, we might not know that for 10.
I kind of liked it.
I don't think it'll be back. But
It probably won't, but
They needed to taper Alpha Strike.
the Alpha Strike.
Alpha Strike
component
was a problem.
And 8th edition specifically was just way too hard.
Yeah.
Well, listen, shockingly, when terrain doesn't matter,
Yeah.
it's kind of
You might be able to bring it back.
Speaking of which,
now,
terrain.
we might as well talk about it.
Yeah, terrain. So they did put out the terrain rules more or less. So
Basically.
they've been simplified down a bit. The main
In a good way.
Yeah,
In a good way.
Gaining the benefit of cover still grants +1 to your armor. Granted,
Really don't like it all.
there's an important caveat in that if you have an armor save of 3+ or better, you cannot gain the benefit of that cover against weapons that have AP 0.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a lot more common in this edition. A lot more AP 0.
So there's something weird with that. Like mechanically, I think I'm okay with that. I don't like some of the interactions with that because that effectively doesn't affect 2-up armor. So
Yes.
1-up saves will still exist, and that's
1-up. What is it? So if you have 2-up armor and they have AP 1, that you still have a 2-up save.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
But if they have AP 2, then you go to a 3-up.
exactly. That's a 1-up save.
Yeah. Okay.
It just seems like a
So
weird way to...
so like that's part of it. So
Well,
So with that
especially when,
caveat there-
when an enormous part of the game is a 3-up save.
yeah, I mean that's true too.
Like-
but yeah, so there's that little caveat there, and then you've got a lot of weird interactions where weapons that don't have AP against 3-up saves, but have things like ignores cover. The ignores cover is meaningless.
on AP 0.
on
stuff.
AP 0, yeah, that's what I mean.
Against
Well, they
3-up
probably
armor
won't
save.
give anything AP or
Flamers.
ignores cover that has. Well, it might be. Have we seen a flamer yet?
We've seen a heavy flamer that was neg 1, but flamers will be neg nothing AP
Well-
AP 0.
Well, we don't necessarily know that. We haven't seen one yet.
I severely doubt they'll be giving flamers AP.
It'd be pretty
Like
cool. if they
regular
did, though.
regular flamers.
Be
Like
pretty cool
obviously
if they
heavy
did,
flamers
though.
have it, but no, I could be wrong. But yeah, so there's weird interactions like that. Like the I think the Wyvern. I think the Wyvern will have ignores cover. But I don't think it'll have AP.
But it'll be twin linked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but we're not talking about that. I'm just saying it'll be AP 0.
I don't-
Well, the ignore
and
cover
ignore
matters because things with a 4-up save will stay at a 4-up save.
Right, yeah, I'm just saying there's just a lot of weird interactions with that I don't
I
particularly
think it's
makes
needlessly wordy.
sense. Sure.
I think they could have just said your cover can't be modified above a 3+.
Yeah, sure. Cover can't modify armor save above a 3+. I think that does the exact same thing.
So, like, yeah, then it still matters for people to get into cover.
Yeah, because you still want
You want cover to matter to the entire game.
exactly. You want even things with 3-up armor and 2-up armor to care about cover, which I think this does.
Against the things that would be killing them.
Well, I mean, even against the things that wouldn't necessarily be killing.
Well, hiding in a building from a tank shell makes sense, right? Like,
Well, even from like a dug-in Marine should be harder to kill than a Marine that's not dug in. Period. Right? Like that just makes sense. So like that's kind of what you want to see, regardless of what's.
I'm glad they
shooting at 'em for the
realized
most
that,
part.
that all the Primaris with a 2-up with 2 wounds and 2-up save was a problem. I'm glad they recognized.
Yeah, well, it
that.
wasn't just Primaris Marines, but yeah.
Well, I mean, anything with 2 wounds and you're shooting at it with AP nothing, it's like
Yeah,
it was like impossible to do anything.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point, though, for that at least. Like AP 0 weapons shouldn't be killing things with a 2-up save with regularity.
Yeah, but I don't think it should be 0 either.
I don't think it's ever been 0. I've seen a lot of stuff with 2-up saves die
Wow,
to AP
we don't need
0.
to get into this. We're not going to agree. But I don't.
You've never seen anything with a 2-up save?
I've
die
seen things with a 2-up save die. I'm saying
To-
like
to
I've
AP
also
0?
shot. Yeah,
Okay.
but I've also seen where like you do 1 wound to a squad of 5 Primaris in a building
Yeah, I understand.
for a large portion of the game, and I don't think that that's
Yeah, I understand.
you know.
Yeah,
I'm glad they saw that it was a problem and they addressed it, and I'm glad they addressed it.
Yeah,
You know, he brings up battle wagons going up to at least capacity 22, which is awesome.
I love when I saw that.
There's a lot of implications with some of the
Top
things
hatch
we've heard
22.
for orcs that make me very nervous. So Ludas.
Yeah,
In a-
you cram that
in a
thing
battle
full of
wagon.
Ludas with a mech boy.
Yeah. If the Def Gun has heavy, we're in for a lot of trouble. I'm just gonna say that.
Ludas hitting on 3s.
4s, but yeah.
No, because the mech boy gives you +1 to hit.
What? Really?
The mech boy.
Doesn't that apply to the vehicle?
Yeah, but,
But
the vehicle now counts as being the bearer of the weapon
Yeah,
when shooting.
he's right.
That's how they confer the buffs now.
That's right.
Do you think we'll still have the rule where you can only be modified +or -1 to a max? Because I think that'll still be a thing. I'm hoping that is still a thing.
I don't know because
It better still be a thing.
because I mean, if there's less neg to hit in the game, it might not really be necessary. But I mean,
Well, you still gotta watch out for the
I
+1s
guess
to hit, though,
to insulate against future iterations of the game.
The neg to hit train being gone is amazing.
Yeah, it's okay.
I love that.
Mhm.
It just you can't. The game's too finite, and it just affects some armies so much more.
I mean, I think it's far more important to have a Laytok be gone. Like,
yeah, I'm
like that. That's far more important. I
Oh,
think.
that stuff was just dumb. My
I don't know, man. Like
goodness.
whenever I'd set up a board, I never put a forest on.
Yeah.
ever.
So
Well, no, I'm just saying. Like you could.
the army wide -1 to hit was a bigger problem. I think is what we're saying. Like the Laytok, like.
Oh, I
like,
agree.
Yeah, it's like
I remember the days
that's-
of neg 3. Like the whole army was neg 3 to hit.
That stuff.
I mean,
just bust.
Now forests.
I played that game in the league.
Yeah.
Forests provide cover to everything when you're shooting through it now, though.
Yeah, you don't even have to be in it or anything. You're
Yeah.
just gonna get cover. Now there's yeah. So we'll see how it's bonus to your save, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that I think, especially with heavy being a thing, I think that might make a bigger difference. So you'll be easier to get
These
shot.
weapon
but
tags,
you'll be
we
a little
don't
bit
know
more
what they're
durable.
going to be applied to either. You know what I mean? Like we don't know if a las cannon will have heavy.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's completely
We
fair.
assume that it will, but like
I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think heavy is just going to be a misnomer that they're applying to things.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll actually be put on anything. Okay, I don't want to say anything.
like how
in here.
heavy cover wasn't heavy cover in 9th.
Yeah. So like tanks, none of their weapons will have heavy.
Yeah, I think
Like
you're right.
they just won't. I mean, now granted there might be some exceptions.
You
right? But like
It won't be now where everything is a heavy weapon.
yeah, like
Exactly.
a Land Raider is not going to be rolling across the board with like its twin las cannons being heavy. Like
Right.
they won't be heavy.
Right.
They won't have that that ability.
I think you're absolutely right. But yeah, I don't know. I think what they're gonna do is I think they're gonna take that because now the weapons are in data slates and not just located in the weapon section of a book.
Yeah.
I think what you're gonna see is a wider variations of actual weapons. So they've already alluded that a little bit with the las cannons on the Chaos Land Raider. They've alluded to it with the plasma cannon on the Dreadnought and all that stuff. So like
in 9th?
yeah, 9th. Yeah, the plasma cannon you put on a regular Dreadnought, it's better than regular plasma cannon.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see a lot of stuff like that, where like the las cannons that go on a Land Raider, they just won't be normal las cannons. They'll be like a Land Raider las cannon, and they'll be kind of like they might be like the Chaos one, where they're just a little bit better. So maybe they will still have 4-shot. Who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
So Tim, how do you feel about the change with terrain, with the ability for units on like that are at least 6 inches off the ground in ruins, getting +1 to their AP?
Say that again.
When you're the
Plunging fire.
plunging fire, the plunging fire rule, which when you're in
I
a
don't
ruin,
think it'll come into play very often.
no,
No, I think when you think about how often you're up on upper levels of terrain, and if objectives are still on the ground floor, remember in 7th they were a cylinder. You could be on the 5th floor and control an objective.
Yeah, but it hasn't been that way in so long. I don't foresee
Well,
that.
yeah,
changing.
that's what I'm saying. I think they'll be on the ground floor, and I think though they still won't be able to be in buildings. So, I don't think it's going to be an issue. And again, the Tabletop Titan guys brought up a good point that the GW terrain is 5 inches. The first level off of the ground is 5 inches, not 6. So you have to be on the second. You're going to be 10 inches above the field.
Yeah.
That's 2 turns of movement to get up there to get a +1 to your AP.
I think in most cases, I think you're right. Things that make me worried are things with fly, and how this tag will be applied to things with fly.
I thought that it should have said infantry.
Yeah, and what makes me I wouldn't be nearly as worried if it did have that tag. But what makes me worried is like take Tau for instance. Half the things in that book have fly. So like you're just gonna be able to can you take a unit of crisis suits with missile pods, drop them up, just fly them up there, and
Although
now all their missile
monsters-
pods have neck 2.
Like infantry might be the only thing that can go up on top of. We don't know.
That's fair. That's completely
they might say
fair.
monsters and vehicles can't even go up on second
Yeah,
level.
that's
which I think that
well, we have that. The problem is we have that rule now, but it excludes units with fly, which
Right, but I think-
is why fly
I
makes
think
me
we can
nervous.
agree like a Riptide doesn't belong on top of a building, right?
I mean, I agree with you for the most part. My problem is that it can. It's always been able
but they
to.
could change that though. So
I don't think they will.
you don't think so?
I don't think they will. No.
You think they want Riptides with -1?
I
AP
think
up
they.
there?
I think they want units with fly to be able to maneuver in that way, and I'm not sure if there's any way for them to keep that without allowing that.
I think
Well,
we
fly
need to
can
see
just
the
be- can
actual
go over
rule.
stuff. It doesn't mean you need to be on top of it.
We need to see the actual rule for sure because I mean my takeaway from the article was that it was going to be infantry only, getting that bonus.
I would be
but
okay
they
with that.
they
I think
also
that'd be the
don't.
easiest fix.
They also don't say that explicitly. They say models. So something like crisis suits could get it, which I mean it isn't an enormous deal because now your crisis suits are going to be just sitting on top of a building and begging to be shot.
I mean, that's fair. There's a lot of stuff that kind of like that. So, like, my obliterators would love that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I could get my obliterators in the heights of a building like that and just open up fire, that extra AP would be game changing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's it's not everything. It's not even most things, but I can see a world.
Ruins also didn't say anything about obscuring line of sight.
That was very weird.
You're right, but the article
does,
which is
which is
the
missing
articles-
rules.
which is the point I'm making about how we need to see the real rule.
Exactly,
Because
that's
like
fair.
they were clearly making like a summarized
When I
snippet on both
first
counts.
That's fair.
When I first read the obscuring, not obscuring rule, I got the sense that the cylinder was going to be gone. The infinite cover was going to be gone. That you had to be obscured by the terrain to get the benefit of it. So, like, no more too tall buildings being blocked by a midget building from shooting one another if they're not obscured by it. That's how I first read it. I don't know if that's correct or not. So, like, if these two mics are two buildings, they could shoot across this piece of obscuring terrain. Currently, this obscuring terrain's like this by 9th edition rules, which makes no sense. It's just poorly written.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the way it's worded in the article, they mentioned the building's footprint.
In the article,
blocking.
not the rules. So
No, I
it's
get
going to
it.
be.
I get it. I'm just saying.
We're
like,
going to
in
need to see.
I hope that's what it goes to, but
Theme is so important, and when there's things that when there's rules where it's just like, why is that a thing? It just takes you out of it. Overall, I like that all terrain was simplified. I like that there's no more worry about dense and scalable and breachable.
I hated the text.
I thought it was a good idea. I just
So does that mean that
I always said we needed standard.
sounds like you can move through everything. Now, again, we don't know what the front of the terrain section is going to look like.
Yeah.
It could say infantry can move through any terrain.
Did it? I don't recall it saying anything about you being able to move through ruins.
It didn't. Now, you've always been able to before.
I would be very okay with you not being able to.
Like,
Yeah,
move-
I agree.
move
They always
through
say
them?
that like
Yeah.
you can go through the
like the whole concept of like how breachable was a thing before. Just make it entirely not there. If you can't physically
Makes maneuvering
put your
a lot
model
harder.
through something, it can't go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't.
I do too, Brent.
I have never liked the concept of infantry sitting behind
And
a
then
wall
popping out.
and then just like getting, and then someone's like, "Oh, you got too close," and then they just phase through and
Yeah.
just.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more abstract than that.
Well,
though.
they're blowing,
like-
they're like breaching charges.
Well,
they're
not
blowing through
even
it, or
that.
doors
Or
and
jumping
windows
through
and stuff.
windows.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's not even that. Yeah, I mean, you also have like giant Marines running through crumbling buildings, like and wearing power armor. That's exactly what power armor does, right? So I think it's a little bit more abstract than that. I think that's where your imagination comes into play when it comes to playing some of these games.
I'll address that in a second, Nathan.
But yeah, that I never had a huge issue with personally.
I'm not talking
I'd be
about from
okay
like
with
a
that.
I'm not talking about like from a themes point of view. I'm talking about more of like a balance point of view and just like kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it
I
helps.
agree.
I think it
I
helps
agree.
getting to things that are hiding.
Mhm.
So so once again, I think that's the balance in one way. Like someone's just gonna. So you've got like a big piece of awkwardly shaped terrain where, like, I wouldn't, if I can't go through the walls, it would take me 3 turns just to get around.
A lot of those
to
things are
see
fixed
you.
too
Like,
by
it's
making
just-
it where charges are base to base. If we got that back, that'd simplify a lot of things.
Yeah.
We did not get it back.
No.
It's still within an inch.
Yeah.
Engagement range is still a thing.
Well,
so
I think that's fine.
I think base to base was so much
I don't
simpler.
like being
then
able
pile
to-
in was you just get as many guys in as you can.
Yeah.
I think it was simpler, but I think it's a little bit more.
I don't think engagement range is complicated or difficult. though.
No, but
Exactly. I
there's-
don't either.
There's room for inch. Well, is that an inch or is that 1.1 inches?
I think you get a lot of the same thing with base to base though too.
I've also never had an issue about determining who can fight. Like
Me neither.
I've never had an
No,
issue.
but
with
you
that.
could though.
I suppose
You could,
but
like, you
but
could
I'm-
be that guy.
I'm
about
saying
it.
in like all the games I've played, I've never had a debate over whether a singular model was in engagement
Sure.
range or not.
Sure.
Yeah, the inverse though too. I don't think I ever had that problem in 7th edition.
Well, no, because if you were within an inch of a guy that could fight, you
In
could
base
fight.
contact,
Yeah.
yeah. I think both are fine. I'm not sure that one necessarily warrants a change over the other. I don't know why we left base contact in the first place.
Yeah,
but
I just thought piling in was so
but
much simpler.
I
And
do
then
like
consolidating. You couldn't
I do like
closest to the closest.
Yeah, I don't like having to consolidate toward the nearest enemy model. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me consolidate. Just let me go 3 inches wherever I want.
I think
Then there's no debate.
I
yeah,
think I
then
think the
can
1
do
inch
anything I want.
I think the 1 inch gives you enough room for like fighting on the other side of like terrain though too.
Yeah.
I think that's what's nice about it is you don't
See, I don't like being able to fight through a wall.
I agree.
I don't like
All right, we're out of time. No, touch on your Tyranid thing, and then
yeah,
we're gonna.
that's fine.
Nathan, I love the Tyranid Prime. Love it. It's my baby.
Yeah, it's cool.
Daddy's happy.
It's cool.
Mama did good. And I think I hope that Shrikes will be a thing. I just want an entire new warrior kit. That
one they
that
got
can
now
be built.
bad?
What?
Is it not very good?
I mean, you see its age a little bit, but like if you put one of those warriors next to this guy, and also you can build a Tyranid Prime out of that kit, and like if you put the two of them next to each other, like one of them would throw up.
I love how you can tell when Tim gets on his phone. You get the static in the
Yeah.
headphones.
But yeah, no, I just want all the new models.
I know. Well, we'll see. We'll see all that stuff this weekend, and then next week we'll be here to talk about it.
Yep.
We're gonna have a lot to talk about. We're gonna have to get right into that next week because
Love
we're
it.
gonna have so much information.
Well, hopefully there's a
Hopefully.
giant dump.
Hopefully, we could get nothing.
Ugh.
I don't think it'll happen.
I think there's going to be a lot exposed. At the very least, we're going to see the rules for the whole box. Somebody's going to take
That's what I think
pictures
so,
and put them
too.
on the internet.
That's what I think too. Not to mention, GW also since they're not selling rules anymore for the most part, they have no incentive to keep this stuff secret. All this stuff does is build hype for what's coming.
Yeah.
So like the only thing they are incentivized to release this information, not keep it a secret. So there's that.
All right, guys, that's it for the show. we'll be back next week with maybe a different table. Who knows? You got to wait and find out. We love you.
Next week on the Table Podcast.
Love you guys. Tell your grandma.
Bye-bye.